Welcome to Glue Trigger 101. A trigger starts Glue job and or crawler when it fires. A trigger can be part of the workflow or standalone. There are two types of trigger. One is schedule trigger, which fires at a specific schedule. You want your job to run on every Monday, every week, every certain time, so you can create a schedule trigger which can be scheduled using a cron expression, and depending on your cron expression, the trigger will fire and it will run a job or a crawler. And there is another trigger which is conditional or event based trigger. So this trigger fires when the specific condition meets or a specific event occurred. As an example, if you want your crawler trigger to run when your job which loads the data at a specific location finishes, then you can have a conditional trigger, and the condition on the trigger could be run this crawler when this job succeeds. And if you have multiple jobs where you want one job to run when another job failed, so you can set up a trigger based on those specific conditions. So now let's log into AWS Glue console and create a trigger. So now let's open AWS Glue, and in the triggers, so we'll go to the trigger section over here, and in the trigger section you can see there are actually two triggers created already. Those two triggers you will be creating when you will be creating your Glue job 2 using the CloudFormation template. But what this two trigger does, one trigger fires at the scheduled time, which is 12:15 p.m. every 7 days, and the other trigger fires on the job event where the Glue job 2 runs successfully, we run the crawler. So let's go and create the trigger. You click on add trigger here, and you just give the name of the trigger, scheduled 101. It's a scheduled trigger, so it's already given over here. We want this trigger to run on daily. Other frequencies you can choose over here is weekly, monthly, custom also. On the console, you don't need to provide the cron expression, but when we'll be creating the trigger using CloudFormation template, we'll be using the cron expression. So you want this trigger to run daily at 15 hours and 55 minutes. Next. So this trigger is scheduled. Now it's asking what you want me to do at this specific time, and you should have Glue job 101 created. So let's add this one. So we don't want another parameters to be passed. There is no security configuration for our Glue job setup. We don't want to enable or disable the bookmark. Timeout is 20 minutes, and let's go next. In the review steps, that the trigger is going to be created 101, scheduled at 3:55 p.m. for this job, and we want to enable the trigger when it's created. That means starting today it will run this job at 3:55 p.m. So let's finish this. Schedule 101 trigger has been created. So now let's go ahead and create a job event trigger. So add trigger, we'll choose the job event, and when you choose the job event, it's going to ask what kind of event you are looking for. So we are looking for a failed event in this case, and what is going to fail. So there is another job which I had created was city temp. You can create your second job for the testing. I'm going to add this job, and I'm saying when this job failed, and we are going to watch all the job events. So this is the trigger event, and the trigger event is the failure of the city temp job. We'll give the name of this trigger as a job event trigger 101. No tags will be given. So let's go and hit next. So now it's asking which job to start when this trigger fires. So we are going to use our Glue job 101 to fire. So what we are saying over here, if my city temp job fails, run my Glue job 1 job. No additional parameters we are going to give, and we'll hit next. We review this one. So it's a name, job event, and it says when the city temp job failed, this job needs to be started. We'll not be enabling this trigger. Finish. Two triggers over here. If you see, the trigger status for the event trigger is created because we have just created this trigger but not activated, but our schedule 101 trigger is activated. So now we created a schedule trigger and a job event trigger. Thank you very much for watching this video.